To the August 13th, 2025 meeting of the El Sobrante Municipal Advisory Council. This is an advisory council which supports the Contra Costa County Board of Supervisors, specifically District 1 of District 1 Supervisor Joya. And yes, so we can start the meeting. We'll start off with roll calls. Well, we do the roll call first and we'll do the pledge.
Tom Lane,
Present.
George Cleveland,
I'm here.
Tom Owens,
Here.
Dr. Melinda McLean. Is absent. Jim Herman,
Present.
Randy Lloyd,
I'm here.
Nikki Norris,
Here.
Terry Edlinger,
Here.
Jan Hart.
But we've got a quorum. So before we do the treasurer's report, I think we can do pledge of allegiance. Anybody volunteer to lead us?
Sorry.
Okay.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Ronnie, treasurer's report.
We're sitting at $2,867.13.
Okay, thank you. Have folks had a chance to look at the minutes from last month?
Yes.
I move to approve the July 9, 2025 MAC minutes with any necessary corrections.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, okay. Aye. All right. Aye. We're fine.
Okay, so let's see, this leads us into the presentations. I was thinking we can change the order a little bit and have Lieutenant Fitzgerald from the Sheriff's Office present first. Never know when you're gonna get called away on a urgent matter, so.
Thank you, Brian Fitzgerald, I'm the lieutenant of the sheriff's office, new base station commander. I've been out here for about 3 months now. So July for El Sobrante, we had a total of 717 calls for service, which ended up generating 54 reports. There was, let's see, we had a couple vandalisms, petty theft from a vehicle, residential burglaries, one auto burglary, and an assault with a deadly weapon. That's kind of the highlights.
Maybe.
Yeah, the lights maybe. I did drop on the table as you walk in, a flyer for a Citizens Academy. If any of you are interested, we run a few of them a year. Basically it's Wednesday from 6 to 9, and it runs every week or every Wednesday for 6 weeks. And it's kind of like a little bit of an insight into what the sheriff's office does, and handful of different you get a pretty good perspective about everything. So detective will come in and talk to you, cruise down to the air support unit, check out the helicopter, or some of the guys from New Patrol, see what the crime lab does, do some mock traffic stops and other things, just to kind of get a better understanding of the sheriff's office and law enforcement. So if you're interested, flyers there, you can scan the QR code and apply. So any questions for me?
Questions from the council?
Vicky.
Yeah.
Yeah, curious, what are the orders that the sheriffs have received from the sheriff about cooperation with them?
There hasn't been anything that's passed down. Immigration has not come and asked us to do any operations with us. Representative from Mr. Joy's office contacted me today about something that's going on down in Richmond. I did my best to kind of figure out as far as who might have been out there doing an operation. I later got word from them that immigration was out there doing some sort of operation, what it was, I don't know. They just kind of were just like, hey, is this sheriff's office? You guys involved in any of this? We didn't have any of our people there, so.
Okay, questions from the floor?
The Citizens Academy, when will you be offering it again? Like, is it once a year?
No, they run about three of them a year, so they'll probably run it, take a little bit of a break and then, and run it. So,
Any further questions for Lieutenant Fitzgerald? Okay. Thank you, sir, for everything you do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff's Office. Okay, so we'll move to the next item, which was originally the first item. Supervisor Joya's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a relatively short report, just a few items. I know there have been questions about the status of the repair of Wildcat Road from San Pablo Dam Road up to Inspiration Point into Tilden. The county had received some federal funding for that and had to do federal environmental review. So that is all complete and construction is starting and the project should be done by the end of the year. So that road through Tilden Park should be open at the end of the year. So that's status of that. Second, as you know, there's been the ongoing issue of county taking over maintenance of Clark Road, the street that goes up to the school and the East Bay Regional Park entry. The county did complete the work. Public Works Department put in some drainage improvements, did resurface, do some asphalt work, and so that is now done. And maybe we'll get a few neighbors together and the MAC if they want, and we can do a little ribbon cutting celebration there sometime here over the next few months. I know the neighbors are and the school are happy. Third, we are having a meeting with Republic Services here this week to follow up on our request for rate relief for residents during the time there was no garbage service. So we'll say more after we have that meeting and see where things are headed. I think they are talking to us about that. So I will give a report once we know more about that. As you also may be aware, the county has been preparing for wildfire season. Fortunately, things haven't been too bad this year so far, given the cooler weather around here. But you know, those preparations have continued. The county is looking at applying for a grant for a fuel break up around Tilden, East Richmond Heights area, and maybe Michelle may talk about that later. So those are our that's what I wanted to add. I don't know, Ronnie, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, I had the same update, so should be good to go.
Good. Any questions about those items or anything else?
Yeah, any update on the noise ordinance?
Ronnie has been in contact. I mean, don't you have a rep on that? I have not heard that there's been any report. I haven't. I know that the planning department has a noise committee. I understand that there was a positive conversation with the sheriff's department that has basically. I think there's going to be some new developments. My understanding is John Kopchak spoke to the sheriff's department that is willing to enforce, that's a big issue, certain types of ordinances. And so I think that is affecting what the planning department is doing in its next presentation to the group. I don't know if they've had that yet, but I think the sheriff's department has said it's looking for a way to enforce that doesn't rely on a decibel meter, but more has to deal with amplified sound. And so I think there's going to be some proposal that comes out of that.
Thank you. Any other questions from the council?
Just to say, Clark Road looks amazing. I drove up it right after they finished, it's very well done. Stoked.
Yeah, and including the drainage improvements, so that's great. Hopefully that will continue.
Yeah, I'll ask you a similar question. I understand that yesterday at the Board of Supervisors meeting, there was a lot of concern about the sheriff's position on ICE cooperation. And I just wanted to know, where's the county on that? And I don't know if there's something that the MAC can take a stand on in this regard or not, if it has any weight or anything like that, but I'm just kind of curious what's going on.
So there was a meeting yesterday. The sheriff's department gives a quarterly report to the Board of Supervisors about the bookings and arrest and operations of the sheriff's department. And then about a month ago was what we call the annual Truth Act form under state law, which is every law enforcement agency reports their contacts with ICE. At both those meetings, there was discussion about the contacts between ICE and the sheriff's department. Under state law, law enforcement um, can provide responses to ICE of certain types of crimes. Um, and it's not it's not a mandatory you have to report these. It is it is more along the lines you are allowed to report these types. In other words, there are some types of crimes where if ICE asks the status of somebody being released, law enforcement cannot provide that information to ICE. For the crimes that are various violations that are listed, the law enforcement, either a police department or sheriff's department, can report. Where there is a different point of view is myself and another supervisor believe that some of the crimes that are currently reported are of a lower level and that there should not necessarily be a response back to ICE. There was a lot of discussion about that. Under state law, sheriffs, unlike police chiefs, have independent authority because they are elected to run their operations. So technically the Board of Supervisors cannot direct or instruct the sheriff to enforce that state law a certain way. The sheriff has the discretion to do that. But as I said, there was pretty robust discussion where a couple of us believed that the line should be drawn in a different place about the nature of which contacts should be provided. The second issue is, and this is something I made a motion on, is we can have policies about contacts between ICE and our other departments like health and social services. And our concern is that ICE would show up at one of our facilities, whether it's one of our Head Start preschools or a clinic or a hospital. And we have some policies that it was my belief and the belief of the Board of Supervisors that we should be more specific about strengthening those policies and how our employees are trained to react if ICE shows up. The problem is, how do you enforce all of that if ICE comes in and says, well, we're going to force our way into the hospital, and there was an incident that happened at John Muir Hospital this last week where something like that happened. So I think that is a concern that we have. I have personally, I've talked about this, that that ICE could come to one of our Head Start preschools and insert their way in. So we are working on strengthening our policies about how we can limit that contact, knowing that ultimately the ability to enforce it could be problematic if they, basically force their way in. So that was the discussion. Two issues. One, our own policies about which the board can set about how our employees are trained to deal with ICE. The second, which are the contacts between the sheriff's department and ICE, which, as I say, there were some differences of opinion on the board, but ultimately the sheriff has the ability. Police chiefs are appointed by a city council or by a city manager. They don't have the same legal authority, so a city council can direct those policies, whereas county sheriffs, since they're elected, have more independent authority about how to run their operations.
So we as a council would probably have, you know, if we wanted to weigh in and just, for example, send a letter just asking the county to take the strongest possible position for protection of people's rights against arbitrary arrest and related matters.
You could do that.
We wouldn't have influence on the sheriff's department, but it seems like we would have influence. You know, such a letter might be pertinent to the hospitals, Head Start clinics, things like that. Do you think something from our
right? We make the policy on that. The Board of Supervisors has policies that it could direct, and that's what we're doing now. We're reviewing. We provided direction for the Equity Committee to review policies to be clear and strengthen those, and then those are going to come back to the Board of Supervisors.
Would it be helpful for us to basically take a position supporting that?
Yes, yes. If you feel that's appropriate, you have every ability and right, since it's a county policy, to make a recommendation. Mm-hmm.
Folks think this might be reasonable to discuss maybe at the next meeting?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so Ronnie, why don't we put that in the agenda for the next meeting? A discussion of this. And, you know, I think it would be something that's supportive of the county making policy, the strongest possible policies to protect people's rights.
Great. Yeah, we heard a lot of public comment on that at our meeting.
Anybody in the audience wish to ask anything of the supervisor? Go ahead, Chris.
Yes, thank you Supervisor, thank you Board. I was wondering, is it possible for the county to make a preemptive public policy statement that there is no emergency in Contra Costa County? There is no civil unrest, and that any federal funding of law enforcement be limited to funding local agencies rather than bringing federal enforcement into the county. And then perhaps use that, advise the governor, advise the courts, advise the UP, and perhaps the federal government that that's the situation, that we're not in any kind of situation that requires any federal intervention.
Well, I think we have, you know, some of us have said that publicly. I'm not certain whether a resolution adds anything to that. I mean, I think, unfortunately, the Trump administration is going to do what it wants to do. And in a way, we're not trying to become a target of them. I know they've talked about Oakland now. They have gone to immigration court in Concord, but yeah, I'm not certain that anything beyond what we've already said is going to make any difference on the Trump administration. Unfortunately.
Any other questions from the audience?
I wanted to suggest that we either write a separate letter or CC the sheriff, because we can represent voters.
Yes.
And I want him to understand that what he's doing right now is really out of whack.
And you made that abundantly clear at the meeting because you are in the article in the paper.
Yeah, I think both Sue and
You are a media darling.
Sue and I were quoted in that East Bay Times story, right, Sue?
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
So we can do our little bit to make a, you know, to make a stand and contribute. So I think that's a good item to take up for next week, next month.
And I think the sheriff election is in 2023, and it's so 2027, I think is when it comes up.
2028.
2028.
Yeah. Any other questions for Supervisor Joya from the audience? All right, thank you, sir, for your report as always. It's good to see you.
All right, thanks.
So we'll go to the next item. I don't think the highway patrol is here, so we'll go to Con Fire.
There we go.
There's Michelle, yeah.
We get to see Michelle. Yeah.
Hello, Chair Lang and board members. Can everyone hear me okay?
Actually, the name is Tom.
I know, but out of respect for you, sir.
She's being very professional and somewhat deferential by referring to you as Chair Lang. She does that to me when I'm chairing and you're not here, so.
It's all in fun.
Yes.
Great, great. So I have 5 updates for the board and the community today. First, the LRA hazard maps. We have completed all of the requirements to implement the new local hazard response, the local hazard responsibility fire severity zone maps. Let me say that again. And we've submitted all of our documentation, which includes the final maps, the resolution, and public comments that we received during the public comment period. Everything has been submitted to the State Fire Marshal's office. Next is the wildfire mitigation projects. Just a quick update for you. Our fuels mitigation work continues on the Lafayette Walnut Creek Shaded Fuel Break. As you know, I have been providing regular updates to this board and the community so we can see how this is carried out to allow us to prepare for, hopefully, fingers crossed, my next topic. So the Lafayette Walnut Creek Shaded Fuel Break is including goat grazing in 3 separate areas of the project. And then we anticipate that that will close on time according to the grant scope of work. What else continues? The other thing that continues is community tipping days. I'm happy to report that in El Sobrante, we completed a community tipping day, and these continue to be a great avenue for both the community in our engagement efforts, as well as fuels reduction, getting the combustible materials out of away from the land allows us to have less fire to fight when the fire comes. Also, having residents engage in this process on their own property allows us to drive home that zone 0 regulation, which may be coming from the state. And your habitat, your environment around your home is made safer through community chipping days. Next is grants. The district applied for this year's wildfire prevention grant, as Supervisor Joya discussed, through CAL FIRE for a shaded fuel break project in East Richmond Heights. Permission to apply for this $950,000 grant was received and approved by the Fire Board on June 22nd. We had a very short window to apply for this project and for grant funding. If grant funding is awarded, this will provide a linear shaded fuel break along the ridge of the West Hills of East Richmond Heights. We anticipate that the award decision from CAL FIRE will come later this year. I don't have the exact month, but we really look forward to getting this work underway. We did provide, Chief Bachman and I, a presentation to the East Richmond Heights Municipal Advisory Council on July 16th. Again, we had a very short window to apply there. And we provided updates to the community and received feedback. I'm happy to report we received a total of 232 letters of commitment from property owners, the HOA in the area, and the Gayoto Foundation, which is the culturally significant Buddhist monastery along Arlington. This project will mitigate approximately 50 acres, reduce fuel loading, enhance forest health, and support our suppression efforts ahead of the fire. And a special thank you to Senator Grayson and Supervisor Joya for their support as we move forward. July 4th, big holiday. Fire inspectors supported 5 special events throughout the district, as well as 7 commercial fireworks shows. Our investigators responded to 3 significant fire events over the course of that evening and into the early morning hours of July 5th. 2 of the incidents were fireworks related, and 1 incident did lead to the injury of 6 people. This event underscores, and this is directly from Chief Burchard, this event underscores the extreme danger of handling illegal and improperly manufactured fireworks. Lastly, legislative update. SB 131 is a CEQA exemption legislative effort. The district had the opportunity to provide input and express our concerns and some frustrations with the CEQA process for how it didn't align with our wildfire mitigation efforts, along with the state efforts. So we did meet with Senator Grayson and Senate President Pro Tem Mike McGuire. We provided language to both senators and on how to streamline the process. So still having CEQA in place, but allowing this to be more expediently put into place, because the delay means that vegetation is growing and we don't have, we're getting that delay, which we're not able to complete those projects. Much of the language that we expressed was ultimately included in the bill, and there are now specific exemptions to the expensive and time-consuming CEQA requirements for prescribed fire projects. This in no way takes away from our effort to ensure that the ecosystem remains intact and that our mechanisms have as light touch as we can. But the impact of this legislation will enable us to channel more funds and efforts directly into hazard mitigation and do so in a timely manner without a lengthy CEQA review process for specific projects. With that, I am open to your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Questions from the council for Michelle? Any questions from the audience for Michelle Reinhardt from the County Fire?
Don't see any.
In that case, thank you so much as always for showing up to our meetings every month and giving us such great detailed information. It's always a pleasure to listen to your presentations. Thanks again.
Thank you. I'll have maps and more information as the time kind of spreads on, right? I'll have a map for that East Richmond Heights project for you. And any other questions, I mean, anything from the helipods that I've mentioned previously to the copter one, I mean, all of those things. Thankfully, for the leadership of Confire, I have that information at my fingertips. So anytime that you receive questions, I look forward to hearing that from the board, and we're getting that information out to Ronnie and Supervisor Joy's office as quickly as we can.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll go into our next presentation, which is from Contra Costa County Environmental Health.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm going to bring in my presentation in just a moment. My name is Nicole Soto. I'm with Contra Costa Environmental Health. I'm the Farmers Market program lead for our county. And Michelle DiMaggio is my supervisor. Hello. So as part of my job, the Farmers Market program, as environmental health in general, our role is just to protect the public health. So part of what we do as inspectors, when we go out for inspections, we are mainly a big educator for food safety. So a lot of the tools that we kind of take out, you'll kind of see us with little probe thermometers, maybe with some alcohol swabs, and then some sanitizer strips, because we're kind of checking, are the foods at a safe temperature, whether they're hot or they're cold or they're cooking temperatures. Is sanitation at the proper levels, because different concentrations, we want to make sure it's at the adequate levels that it should be. While we're out there doing the inspections, we provide any handouts that the operators may need, whether it's proper guidance on hand washing, or it could be additional handouts on how we can better utilize the structure inside their booth to have food properly served or stored, or even like full enclosure, depending on what they're actually doing at each food booth. And typically those inspections may vary depending on what it is. So depending on how huge it is, we may need more than one inspector out there. If it's something smaller, may not be as much. But when a lot of these farmers markets that we have in Contra Costa County, they have a few different permits with us, and I'll go over that in the upcoming slide. But Generally, there's about 3 different tiers that we have for them. One would be an annual ag permit, a non-ag permit, and then the folks that are doing a lot of the food preparation, like making burritos, or let's say some type of fried rice, or just kind of actual food preparation, those tend to be what we call them as TFFs. And part of my job too is just to be a big source of information, not only for the temporary food event operators, the food vendors, but also for the farmers market managers. They can kind of contact me or Michelle, and we have any different types of services. So some of the support that we give them will be online services, whether it's through email. We have different ways for them to submit the applications and make the flow a little bit better. We have consultations that they can set up with me, whether it's in person or virtual. And then we tend to have, I would say it's now going a little bit more on a quarterly basis. We have these meetings with the farmers market managers, just to kind of bring up a platform for them if they have any questions for us as a department, or any hot topics that they want to bring up, any concerns like that. So just to kind of piggyback real quick on the inspection. So after those inspections, we will issue a temporary food permit to the person that's in charge, which will be the farmers market program manager. This permit will allow them to operate, and this permit will only be issued after the inspection. And we'll go over any violations that we received and how they can improve so they cannot have those violations in the future. Next slide, please. Put this down here. So recently, the Board of Supervisors approved a new fee schedule with our department that occurred on June 24th, a couple months ago. And that increased the permit fees for our department. So part of that is that we partnered with Contra Costa Health Plan. And so part of what their role, what they would be doing is that they would be actually connecting with the farmers markets themselves. So what they'll be doing is, if the farmers markets will allow them to have a designated booth at their farmers market, they're going to be providing some health education, maybe some preventative care, support resources information, just having that in-person engagement with them. So if you happen to be going to the local farmers markets in the near future, you may be seeing Contra Costa Health Plan out there and have a booth. And then if you want more information, I do have this a QR code if you kind of want to scan that, and I'll take you directly to their website if you're interested in that. Slide please. So if the farmers markets decide to kind of opt in for this, part of that with Contra Costa Health Plan is that there's going to be some fee credits for them. So if they decide to opt in for the ag and non-ag permits, then environmental health will waive their permit fee increases. They will need to reapply every year. They have an option whether they want to opt in or opt out of that. So right now, I'm gonna kind of walk over here. Sorry for the online folks that you can't see me. So these were the previous fees for the ag and the non-ag permits, and it was based off the quantity of the amount of booths that you'll see there. And then if they decide to opt out, this is what the fees will be. And if they opt in, this is what the fees will go back to. So essentially, kind of reverting back to the previous fees of what they would be. Next slide. And that's pretty much what I have in a nutshell. Pretty sweet and short to the point. But I did put a QR code if you do want to see our website for additional information on the farmers market, or if you have questions for me, I can leave my cards here. Be more than happy to answer any questions that you guys have. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I was gonna say
Ask
my
if there's
contact
any
information
questions.
is up there, so even if you want to snap a photo, my phone number is up there. That'll be my direct line. And then the email for farmers markets at cchealth.org.
So thank you so much, Ms.
Yes.
Soto, for your presentation.
Yes, thank you
Are
very
there
much.
any questions from the council? Any questions from Ms. Soto from the audience?
Yeah, you said about a booth at the farmer's market, they could offer some kind of health services or referral, something like that. Would that include dental and vision, or is it more, I mean, those seem to be two areas that's hard to get insurance and hard to get the kind of referrals.
I'm not positive on if it actually does the dental on that. I know when we did discuss with them, they said they would kind of discuss with the farmers markets themselves to see which educational handouts that they would kind of gear towards their location of the farmers market. So let's say if they, for 1 month, they wanted information on WIC or information about maybe like senior citizen, certain packages on that. That was also discussed. So they are gonna actually connect with the farmers markets themselves to see what would be best for their customers, because they know the general area of their, I guess, their customers.
So it's more or less customized.
It can, yes, it can, or it can be something as general. I think they really want to establish that discussion first with the farmers market before they head out to. Any other questions?
There are no other questions. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Very informative presentation.
Thank you so much. I'll leave my business card too.
Any questions?
So the next item on the agenda is a presentation from West County Wastewater on sewer lateral compliance by Judy Chen.
Good evening. Ronnie, do you have a clicker or you gonna help?
No, I can do the slide for you.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Again, good evening. Thank you so much for inviting me to this meeting. Ronnie has been a great partner inviting us to participate in multiple different MAC. So again, my name is Judy Chen. I'm the planning and support manager with West County Wastewater. Today, I'm going to talk about partnering for a cleaner future, okay? So everything that we do, we want the partnership from the resident in our service area, right? So my topic will be partnering for a cleaner future. All right, and so this is today's agenda item. We're gonna talk about the purpose of sewer lateral compliance and what is West County wastewater, right? Where is our service area in response for wastewater management? We're gonna talk about the sewer lateral compliance, how does that look like? And we're gonna talk about the incentive program, okay? That's one thing that a lot of residents has been calling and say, what is that incentive program? We're gonna talk about that. And we're gonna also provide the contact information, okay? So at the end of the presentation, I'm gonna give you the contact information of who you need to contact and where you can contact and with those detailed information. Now, I started with this slide because I think that this is really important. We all need to understand what's the purpose of the sewer lateral compliance, okay? There's meaning to it, right? Okay, the purpose of sewer lateral compliance is to protect public health, okay? Is to promote environmental stewardship, is to maintain private sewer lateral compliance to protect our environment. The sewer lateral compliance is to prevent spills, okay? Is to keep wastewater, waterway clean, and is to ensure a reliable wastewater system, not just for today, but also for the future. That's the whole purpose of sewer lateral compliance, okay? Now, this is our service area. Anything that you see the lighter gray is our West County wastewater service area. So we have everything, we cover everything in El Sobrante, okay? This is a non-incorporated area. So unincorporated area, so West County wastewater provide the wastewater services in entire El Sobrante. We cover a portion of the city of Pinole. We cover the entire city of San Pablo. And we take care of a portion of city of Richmond. That consists of West County wastewater service area. Responsible wastewater management. So West County wastewater, we have about 240 miles gravity sewer line. We have 17 lift station. You see the mountain, the hill, right? That require a lift station to pump the water. So we have about 17 lift station throughout our service area. Okay, we have 6 miles of pressurized force main. Every lift station is connected with the force main, right? So when you pump it, goes up to the hill and goes down as a gravity, right? So our treatment plant process about 12.5 million gallon per day. 12.5 million gallon per day, and that's in the average dry weather flow. In the wet season, like rainy season, we process about 18 to 25 million gallon per day. And you're gonna say, why, right? Why the dry weather season is 12.5 million gallon per day? And when it's the rainy season, it's twice as much. Do we use the toilet more when it's raining season, right? Or do we wash them more, right? No, it's not, and I'm gonna talk about that, okay? Here are a couple things that please, okay, so the environmental compliance department has encouraged me to talk about this because it's really important for the public. Do not flush the fog, which is fat, oil, and grease. Do not dump your chemical through your toilet. Flush the, how do you call that? Wipes, baby wipes. Do not put it through your toilet. Okay, that's not something that we can process in our treatment plant. Okay, medication, who is guilty? Me. Okay, in the past, I have dumped this through the toilet. Do not do that. Okay, so all this, please do not flush it through your toilet or dump it through the sink. Yes, ma'am.
Feminine products, like tampons?
No.
Yeah.
Now, we're gonna talk about, yes. Okay.
Oh, it would be good to have that on the slide.
Right, that's a great idea, yeah. So, yes, sir.
About the chemicals and things like that,
Mhm.
not include like chlorine and.
Yes,
green
absolutely.
products. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, how do you deal with that, right? So the county actually has the a chemical collection site actually in the somewhere in North Richmond. Yeah, so if you go to the county website, you should be able to find this information.
There's also like the Feel Good on Solano Avenue, they will collect the little orange pill containers if you empty them out. And then there's the El Cerrito Recycling Center that collects a lot of that stuff too. Feel more or Feel Good, it's like a refill shop.
That's a good information. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. So people ask, what is sewer lateral, right? What is sewer lateral? So this just showing you from which portion of it is considered as a sewer lateral. Okay. Anything that connected from the property structure all the way to the connection of West County wastewater's sewer main. This stretch is so-called sewer lateral. Property owner is responsible for this stretch. Okay. All right, let's go next. Look, that's a broken pipe. All right, so high ionite, right? What's high ionite? Ionite stands for high inflow and infiltration. Okay, so I do have a map up there where it shows the pink. That's where the high ionite. Okay, so remember I talked about 12 million gallon per day in the dry season and 18 to 25 million gallon per day during the rainy season. That's where majority of those are coming from those pink area. Yeah, we have hired a consultant and contractor going out there installing the meter, and that's how we identify the area.
Just for clarification, wastewater means anything from the toilet, anything from our sinks?
Yes.
That's it? Pretty much?
Washing machine.
Washing machine,
So people also shouldn't dump grease down their disposals.
No, absolutely not. That is
That's
clogging.
another thing you should probably put in the slide is it's also the sink.
Right, so if we go back to the previous slide, I actually have the fog on the top. Fog stands for fat, oil, and grease.
Yeah.
Right, Yeah, that's no, that's absolutely no. And I can talk about just fog itself for the 10 slides, but in the essence of time, right? That's just a picture there, so 2 more slides down, please. This one, thank you, Ronnie. So inflow and infiltration, okay? Anything you see the red, it's inflow. Anything you see blue is infiltration. So when I first started working in this organization, I take a look at this picture and I say, what's inflow? Inflow is something that purposely connected, okay? So if you connect your wastewater drain through the gutter, right? That's inflow, okay? If you have the area drain connected to lateral, that's inflow. Okay? Downspout connected to lateral, that's inflow. That's no, okay? So our treatment plant only process wastewater, okay? We don't process stormwater. Stormwater should be going to the bay, because those are not wastewater, right? What's infiltration? It's a broken pipe. Remember that I showed the broken pipe picture? That's infiltration, okay? Oh, you know what? Let's go back to the previous slide. So, oops,
This thing has a mind of its own.
no problem. So just go back to the previous slide. So what I want to talk about is the sewer lateral compliance is really important. Anytime there is a broken pipe, that's infiltration, right? We want to detect it, but anything is buried under the ground. How do we know, right? That's where we request the video inspection. Okay, the property owner needs to hire the licensed contractor to come in and run the video for inspection. But once that's been done, send it over to Waste County Wastewater. We will let you know whether you need to have a repair or replacement. But without running a video, because everything is buried under the ground, no one knows. If you walk around the street and you smell something, it's probably the broken pipe. Okay? Yeah, if you smell something on the street, yeah, report it to Waste County Wastewater. We will have someone dispatch to check it out what's going on. Yeah.
So
Now, yes,
you have the chart here, I guess you're going to explain the
I'm going to
difference
explain
between
this.
the high I and I as opposed to.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so quickly about the PIPES program, what's PIPE stand for, right? It's not just the pipe, but the PIPE stands for the Public Incentive Program for Efficiency of Schools. So this is where you can apply for the incentive program to assist with the sewer lateral repair or replacement. Okay, if you are in a high I&I area, you will be eligible for up to $4,500. Anywhere else, it's up to $3,000. Thanks to Waste County Wastewater Board of Director, who approves the $400,000 every year to support this program. This program is eligible for every single one of the homeowner in our service area. If you have a need for sewer lateral repair or replacement, this is the program for you. Now, keep in mind, so that I said it on the record, you need to apply the program, get the pre-approval before you start doing the repair or replacement. Because we want to make sure that we still have that $400,000 to support your project, okay?
I think I asked the wrong question.
Mhm.
How do we know whether we are in a high I and I area or not?
That is a really, next slide. So this is where we show where is high I&I area. So if we go to our website, which I will have in the contact information on the very last slide. Okay, if you go to our website and click on PIPES program, you can enter your address. And it will show you whether you're in the pink or somewhere around here. Okay, if your property address happen to be, within the pink area, you are a high I&I area, and you will be eligible for up to $4,500. Any more question about PIPES program? We good?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there incentives to keep stormwater out of the sewer laterals ecologically, like greywater systems, rain gardens, those sorts of other improvements?
Do we, how do I answer that question?
I think the answer is no.
Okay, well, East Bay Mud would have, right, don't they have? Yeah.
Not for very long.
Okay,
And so there's no incentive for the inspection, like you have to pay for your own inspection.
Right, so the PICE program is to assist the property owner for the sewer lateral replace or repair. Replace or repair, right? Repair is a smaller job, replace the entire sewer lateral.
But not like diagnostics.
Yeah, no,
I
So-
think we should
so you need,
proceed with the presentation.
sure,
I'm gonna collect questions for.
thank you. It's all good question here. So I'm gonna run this real quick. We have done the outreach program and we break it down into 3 categories. We have done the social media, we have mail, the correspondent, we have in-person engagement like this, right? Okay? Thank you, Remy. Social media, we have it on our website, we have it on the LinkedIn, we have on the X, we have on the Facebook and Nextdoor. Anywhere that is popular social media platform, we are there. Anytime we have a new update, we will post it on the social media or on our website. Mail correspondent, I believe you probably have received a postcard from West County Wastewater earlier this year, right? You do? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so we send it out to every single resident in our service area with a postcard talking about the PICE program. This is part of the outreach that we are committed to our residents. In-person outreach, so the very first one is the East Richmond High MAC, I was there. And the others are like, for instance, like Wheelchair Association and some other events. Here's the contact information. Take a picture of it if you need to contact our inspector, inspections@wcwd.org. Permits is probably your first stop, right? So reach out to permit, that's a permit email address. PICE program is where you can apply for the incentive program. If you want to pick up the phone and call us, that's the phone number there, 510-222-6700, option number 3. That will reach to the permit PICE inspection. Website is www.wcwd.org.
So,
That is my presentation.
excellent presentation, thank you so much. I'd like to just start with a couple of questions,
Sure.
if that's okay. The first one is, what triggers a sewer lateral's
Compliance
compliance?
review. Yeah, there are multiple ways that we will trigger the compliance review, okay? Sir, let me know if you need to add anything. My manager is here as well, Michael Spanner, Deputy General Manager. So a couple things. When the property has no certificate of compliance filed, so we regularly review the property in the service area and making sure that everyone is being protected with a good sewer system. So when there is no certificate of compliance, we will issue a sewer lateral compliance review request to the property owner. Now, there are many situations that we will issue that, okay? Another situation is there has been a spill and our CSO dispatched to such resident, and it just happened that system is serving multiple different owners. Like say, most recent situation was that our CSO dispatched to a location where the manhole is serving 4 other neighbors, right? And there was a spill. So the CSO clean up, do the video inspection, and notice that the spill may be contributed by the fog. Remember the fat, oil, and grease from other neighbors. So that's when we issued the sewer lateral compliance inspection request to those neighbors. So those can be a trigger as well. Yeah.
So you have this triggered by sales of a property, correct?
That's absolutely correct. So it's by law that every time there is a real estate transaction, the seller is responsible to disclose whether or not their sewer lateral is in compliance. It's part of their Contra Costa County sales addendum. It's part of the real estate package, right? So they have to disclose that. So oftentimes, the realtor is really good. Realtor is such a good partner when it comes to with the waste company wastewater. They will often reach out and say, hey, this property has certificate of compliance on file, right? We check our database, yes, here is the certificate of compliance, so that they can go ahead and fill out the form, put the certificate of compliance together as a package, and move on with their real estate transaction. Now, when there is no certificate of compliance on file, that's when we issue the sewer lateral inspection review request to the property owner. Yeah.
So just, I'm sorry for taking up everybody's time, but I'm wondering whether or not where you have the highest degree of non-compliance and the highest degree of requested repairs are for potentially older homes, is that the case?
Not necessary, it depends. Newer community, their sewer lateral is fairly new, right? So your assumption it's correct, but we don't necessarily will say, hey, let's target this area because it's older home, or let's target this area when it's a newer home. But it's more of there must be something trigger, whether it's there's no COC on file. A newer home, once the development has complete, right, everyone will receive the COC on file.
And then just one thing and then I'll shut up. And that is, I'm wondering, your incentive program is sort of driven higher rebates for high I. I'm wondering if you could have higher rebates for homeowners with a lower income. So that, because those costs for compliance can be pretty substantial. So if there were some sort of program that a lower income homeowner could apply for, that would increase the size of a rebate.
I appreciate the feedback, yeah, we'll definitely bring this back and for the board for consideration.
So, Harry?
The board has looked into that. Unfortunately, state law does not allow some ratepayers to subsidize television.
But what do you do if there's someone who has to replace the sewer lateral and they just cannot afford it?
We had an incident, and we put some.
You install a sump pump?
Well, I don't know, we just put a place for their raw sewage to go that would get into our sewer line. It wasn't like a lateral, it was a fix to make that happen. And the moment didn't have what I would call a fix it, but raw sewage was dumping on the street. So
is the sump less expensive to install than having help?
it was a temporary thing.
So when folks can't afford to get their sewer lateral replaced, we have incentive programs like the PIPE program that Judy's talking about. There's also some other vehicles that the board has approved that are available to us. There are things like when we have a project in the area, we have the ability for folks to tag onto our project, do their sewer lateral at the same time. Normally, when you do sewer lateral work, the highest cost of that is opening up the street. We open the street with our project, and then we allow the homeowner to negotiate with the contractor directly to get their sewer lateral replaced. So it's an agreement between the homeowner and the contractor. You happen to get the benefit that we already have the street open. You also would then qualify for our PIPES program, so significantly reducing the cost of the sewer lateral replacement. What we try to do with some of these things is remove all the honest hurdles to get these things done. There's also the ability for the district to negotiate with homeowners directly, tack it onto your property tax, which gives you probably 20 years to pay for it. So you can stretch out the cost in that way. As Director Weiner explained, we don't have the ability to subsidize one property owner over the other. We don't have the ability to reduce the cost, and we do all of the things that we can in terms of connecting you with us and getting efficiency of that so that it reduces the cost as much as we possibly can.
Further questions? Tom?
I had one, one of your diagrams, you showed rainwater being connected to the lateral, that's not legal, is it?
That's not legal,
No,
that's
not-
inflow.
I wondered.
That's inflow, yeah, we want to avoid that at all costs. That's another reason why we process twice as much in the rainy season, right? So we want to avoid that at all costs. Imagine that when the treatment plant is overloaded, right?
Yeah.
That's not a good thing for anyone, right, in our service area. So
So you mentioned the certificates of compliance. How long do they last? Is there a reason they would go like out of effect, like, you know what I'm saying?
10 years,
10 years?
it's 10 years, Yep.
And so then every 10 years you do a new inspection to see that everything's okay?
yes.
And I see the right side where I was saying, one of the things that we should probably talk about is the geography of our service area. There are a number of seismic faults that run through our service area, so this ground is always moving. Majority of the laterals in our district are put together with clay lines. Those go together in two pieces, one's a male and a female, they go together with a small gasket in between. Normally those gaskets don't last more than 20 or 25 years. As well as, one thing that should be noted is not only does West County require its residents COC to expire every 10 years, we have a goal of video inspecting our lines once every 10 years. So it's not just something that we ask residents to do, it's also something that we're doing.
A couple of things, you mentioned that in theory, someone could wind up paying for this if it was put on an addition to their property tax. So what happens if they can't pay the property tax? How do you get paid? Because there are people that cannot or do not pay their property taxes, so how does that work?
Yeah, we haven't had a situation like that, so I'm not.
Okay, and about the sewer lateral compliance when a property is purchased. I mean, how many times do you have to do that? For example, there's a house in my neighborhood that is vacant. And it's being rehabbed, which tells me it's been sold. And I'm gonna guess that the people who bought the property are rehabbing it, they'll live there. So how many times does the sewer lateral process have to go? Because this house is gonna be sold twice within probably a year. How does that work?
There's a point of sale ordinance, so each time it changes hands, we're gonna wanna see that it's in compliance. However, in a real estate deal, if I were to buy the house from you and you gave me a copy of that certificate of compliance, I could just provide the same one to show that it's not expired.
Okay, and the last thing, you mentioned also something about, I'll call piggybacking onto an existing project. Well, what happens if there is an existing project? My house is at the end of the sewer lateral, at the end of the dead end street. So the likelihood of that happening in my street is nil.
Yeah, then the vehicle isn't available to you. There are other vehicles that are, but that vehicle is available if we have a project that's in your area.
Alright.
We have our, my apologies, we have our capital plan that our board actually just approved in June, I believe it was. In there, we lay out all the capital projects for the upcoming next 10 years. You can see on there which streets are slated to be replaced at what point if we already have a project identified here. It kind of gives you a window for when we may be related.
A rough idea, how much money does it cost to get the camera to go down the sewer line? It would be to you guys.
Can I take that?
Yeah, sure.
That's really a cost between the homeowner and the plumber.
I know, I'm just wanting a ballpark idea, because when I'm reporting out, it would be helpful.
Yeah, we generally don't give estimates on what plumbers are gonna charge you guys to do sewer lateral inspections nor the replacement, because there's a difference depending on how long it is, what terrain they have to get to, and how they get into the sewer lateral.
And also because the responsibility of West County wastewater ends at the street, anything on the street belongs to the customer.
I understand all that, I'm just.
No, I'm just saying they don't do that because it's not their scope. It was the same,
Yeah.
it's the same thing with East Bay Mud and your water. It ends at the meter and anything beyond that, it's up to the homeowner and the district.
And we had to deal with that a few years ago, and I have a copy of the bill somewhere, and it has itemized the cost and the cost of the inspection and the cost of the repair. If you'd like, I could send that to you.
I can probably find it out.
That'd be great. And we typically don't get those bids, so we'd be kind of shooting in the dark and giving you guys numbers that we can't just.
Any further questions?
Thank you so much for keeping our environment clean and making sure that we working together as a partner to ensure environmental solution. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Thank you much. And really informative presentation.
Appreciate it.
I think sewers never cease to fascinate us, at least I'm speaking.
It's always a big development, I get it.
Okay, in terms of next item, there's an update on the county-wide noise ordinance, but Supervisor Joya already provided that. So now we go into the public comment. So this is any item under the jurisdiction of this committee, basically relating to life in unincorporated Sobrante. So George.
I am speaking as a member of the public. Just a reminder that El Sobrante Pride is having its second annual celebration. Sunday, September 28th, from noon to 4 at Cheese Park. Hopefully people show up for that. It's gonna be fun, family friendly, food, vendors, DJ, performances, speeches by public officials. It's a good time. Second thing is, there's the weekly protests at the corner, Appian and Dam Road in La Colina. And as a private citizen, I'm going to let our sheriff's office know about it, not so they can keep an eye on us, but so they can monitor the traffic, the speeding. The lady in the black hat in the back, whose first name I do not know. What's your first name, please? Allison. Allison was nearly clipped twice in the crosswalk last Friday when she had the right of way by two different vehicles that nearly ran her over. I thought that was pretty uncool. So I'm thinking that perhaps just call to the sheriff's office, hey.
The protest action group, I believe, done that.
Okay.
But absolutely, yes.
I wanna do it too, because I'm standing on the Dam Road, La Colina, at the curb cut for the traffic light, and there's these vehicles flying past my feet, like a foot away at like 50 miles per hour. I'm like, this is crazy.
That's not just during a protest.
Oh, I know, I'm well aware of that. It's a problem on basically the whole stretch from the top of the hill at San Pablo Barreras all the way out to Kennedy Grove and beyond. It's a problem, we know this. But when there's a group of people that are standing there just exercising their constitutional First Amendment rights, I don't think they should put their lives in jeopardy because people are driving too fast and don't know the rules of the road. So that's all.
Well said, George.
Thank you.
So Chris.
This is I know about this as a result of the protests, but as my observation, which was that in that heavy wind the other day, we were standing by the Ace Hardware and a very on a Friday afternoon, 5 to 6 p.m. public signs. The wind knocked the branch down and it almost hit a couple of us, nobody got hurt or anything, but it kind of made me wonder about maintaining those trees to prevent wind damage. I don't know if the wind is getting stronger or not, but is there scheduling for when that is done or something to maintain those trees up and down Dam Road?
That's a good question to ask.
There is a schedule. I did reach out to Debbie King. Separate issue, but for the stroll to make sure that they're nice and everything for the stroll.
Yes.
So I haven't received an update just yet, but I know from last year's stroll they are on a schedule. I just don't know when that is.
It's very, as you know, the weather has been very windy around here for months. And I just remember 2 years ago when I was in a booth for an organization and we had our canopy. And it's nice to see that the supervisor now has a canopy. I saw that East Richmond Pike celebration. That's good. I mean, the wind just took this particular canopy and just flipped it up in the air and spun it around and snapped off one of its legs. It was extremely windy that day. There are trees like that. We don't want stroll participants, vendors, anybody to get hit by a tree branch. That would be very unfortunate.
Eric?
The Chamber of Commerce is on it.
Okay, good.
They're always trying to get the county out.
Any other public comments? Sorry.
So I came here for a whole different reason, but basically, for the new faces and not, I'm O'Neill from SOS, for the ones that do the showers, we work the homeless out here. We are on basically every budget cut, so. The first thing I was coming here for was to get the ear into Joya. Which means Ryan, are you trying
I'm listening.
There is county funding at the cabin up the road, and we were basically. I don't wanna say promised, we wrote the proposal with them. We haven't seen a dime, so we had to cut all services. Being that you guys have been one of the biggest community support, it's not that I'm abandoning the community at all. We can't afford to be there. So. Any support on that end, it is a county proposal that went in and got accepted for that encampment, and like I said, so the second thing is, and some may not understand why I'm gonna ask this, but with SOS's Richmond for like the trash cleanup, for the outreach, unincorporated El Sobrante is on our contract, so I know most people I know from the cleanups and the things we do in the creeks. I am gonna ask for everyone in the room to support us at the next city council meeting at Richmond. Because if we don't get the funding there, SOS can't do any of the things that we've done in partnership with this community. We are agreed to the backs of the wall, being that the county funds fell through. And like I said, today's point wasn't to come here to ask for the city of Richmond, but 2 hours ago, we found out that basically we went backwards in funding and we went forward for 4 years and our backs to the wall. And I know you guys have always, given us a lot of push, and so we're kind of asking for a little help at the next city council meeting, whether it's a letter, you wanna come join us. Somebody,
Question for you.
yes,
Oh, Terry,
I
did you
just
want
wanna know when the meeting.
it's Tuesday, so it's Tuesday at 5:30 is the next one. We don't know if we're gonna be, we're fingers crossed, because the sooner we get on dockets, the sooner we can know we're totally broke, but at least we know what our budget is. We don't know we're gonna be on it yet, so it's 5:30, we'll know if we're on, public comment, but it's 5:30 is the next one.
So, O'Neill, I just have a quick question for you.
Yes.
So you submitted a proposal to the county, and then the county agreed to fund it?
So what would happen is there's a what they call a resolution, encampment resolution fund, Richmond's done 2 of them, but the first one went out to the encampment down by Ray's in that area, it's called Year F3, so encampment resolution round 3. We were in on the talks when they wrote the proposal, we were all the way in the talks till the money rolled out and. They got their own, they went in.
So have you inquired with
Oh
supervisor?
yeah, the reason why I've kind of barked that, because we sent emails out to Joya, to Sohela, trying to get the support. We've done everything we can to touch the ears of the county. Whether they didn't like our proposal, we broke it down to, if you wanna buy 1 shower for the house, you wanna buy 1 trash pickup, this is what it costs us. You don't like the whole total, you can pay us for a month, maybe you only want the service. But to expect us that are already backs to the wall to come up with the money to service what I think got $4 million. It doesn't really help us support the community that we're here to support. It's really telling us we're the ones hiring. Our last project we did. I can't give you the exact count of how many down here, we hired 10 individuals to clean that encampment 2 days a week. So it's not like we've been light on supporting that community and supporting the people now that they're gonna be housing, but it really just puts us to the backs of the wall when the funding is there, we're just getting nothing off of it. We're the only ones that do showers, we're the only ones that have done the trash thus far. And we just got left off of all of that.
Which is weird, because. Well, I don't know, with a certain about 50 some odd $1 million coming in every year for the next 10 years, you might think that they could break up.
But that's two different things, so the one he's talking about, Biograss is the same thing just today.
That's.
But not much of it's going to the unhoused.
Which is unfortunate, because there's still an issue of unhoused in Richmond, so.
Okay, well, thank you for bringing that up. Any other public comment?
I have a public comment on Zoom.
Okay,
Hi, I've been emailing with Ronnie. We don't have a park in our neighborhood and there's a dead end part of Valley Lane with Canyon Road that I was hoping we could get permission from the county to block off to turn it into a parklet. And it probably wouldn't cost anything because we are planning to sort of community source like planters and benches to put in the space. We thought it'd be a really nice community space for everybody. So I just wanted to bring that up as something that we've been emailing about and we're hoping to hear back about. I've already spoken to the two houses that live on either side. They don't have any entrances or driveways on that part of the street, but they're adjacent to it and they're okay with us moving forward with that if the county was okay with that.
I didn't understand what you.
I can explain a little bit, the microphone is a little off. So there's a small little nub of Valley Lane off of Canyon Road, that we're interested in blocking off, basically we need permission from the county, I think, to block off this little dead end half block, of street with there's no houses with their address on that little spot, and we've been talking about blocking off the street, possibly planters, setting up sort of community space. Sue's aware of it. It would just be a nice little park that's 4 acres. So seeing what we would need to do to get permission from the county to simply block off access to a road end.
Very awesome.
do you simply?
Wonderful.
Yeah.
We could have our neighborhood little get-togethers there and stuff.
Yeah,
like
we
that.
have a notice board, Foursquare.
Yep. It's an innovative, really innovative idea. If this could work well, then we could spread this idea, because one of the things we don't have in many developments, not just here, but across America, is a place where the community could gather a little bit. We could get a coffee truck, we could, anyway, a sandbox.
Yes, it's kind of why the Pride event is in the city of Richmond, because there isn't an event space in our community that could hold such a thing.
Is there any movement on the Maori property that they're
Or do
Give them their vacuums.
What's that?
To give them their vacuums.
No.
Get them.
The car wash bought it,
What's it?
the car wash bought the property,
I know they do.
and they're holding out to enlarge their vacuum cleaner stations
So,
and build. Was it 2 apartment complexes?
so there are just a number of trade-offs that need to be assessed and dealt with before, that territory will be granted for a park. And it has to do with the number of, the expansion of the car wash, which affects the available parking for some of the units in the proposed multifamily residences. So some of them will have just one parking space, which probably isn't enough. So it's all kind of being still hashed out. We don't really know when it will be resolved. Any other?
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's anything you can do, I mean, like. For the Max to write a letter or somehow or other in support of SOS Richmond. Their Sunday, there's something, because they do provide such an important service to our community.
So what I'm gonna do is just reach out, I'll just send an email to John. And ask to sort of clarify what happened to the request.
Yeah.
And why there's no county money going to the organization. And I think once we know from the county why that's happening, then we could potentially, write a letter, which I think is a really good idea, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so along those lines, should we put O'Neill on the agenda for next month to give a bigger overview of the impacts that losing SOS would have, so he's actually giving a presentation?
Yeah.
Because I asked him here tonight just to make us aware of what was going on. This is heartbreaking to me, so I think if we could get more community awareness that that's what needs to happen, because it's not well talked about yet.
Okay, when the future agenda items come to us, I'll mention that in this meeting. Okay, so if there are no further public comments, information items, one information item is the El Sobrante stroll is next month, September 21st. Be there or be square. The dam road gets closed down between El Portal and Appian Way. We get up to, sometimes I think we've estimated 25,000 people over the course of the day. The stroll starts at 10, ends at 4. Food vendors, craftsmen, your favorite nonprofits, your favorite government officials and law enforcement agencies are all there for you to talk with, and a great time is to be had by all.
There's gonna be more horses this year.
I don't know, more horses, there will be horses.
There's only a couple last year, but is that, then we're so. You were disappointed. I was disappointed, I'm not gonna lie, because the year before there were a lot more horses, and I like the horses.
But there will be a gigantic war elephants like in.
I doubt that, but I would like that as well.
It's gonna be a gigantic fish.
The horse and water work stuff.
There was only a couple of them.
I know the rest of them, they try to go on a horse country, so they just.
Any other information?
I think that's a harsh.
Okay.
Mixing some, that was a dash.
Next cleanup is this Saturday, third Saturday cleanup. You're all invited. Meet at the library out here in the parking lot. From 10 to 2, we'll be cleaning up. We have the equipment. You just need to show up and sign in. And it's always good if somebody would let us know where trouble spots are, because that will help us assign people to different areas. So that's happening, and then on the 20th, the day before, is our next third Saturday, but since we're having the coastal cleanup the following Saturday in conjunction with spawners. Hopefully.
Still contemplating, we'll know more in the next week or two, but still contemplating. As of right now, we're
They've been
still.
good partners to us, we want to support them too. And yeah, we'll be participating in the stroll as well, and we'll have a contingent. And it should be a lot of fun, and if you have been to our cleanups, you're welcome to join us in our contingency. Marching down, and we'll probably have another parade rehearsal, because we want to go for the next Outstanding Spirit Award again. We think we have a good shot this time as well. Changing it up. But yeah, let us know, because and we'll have a booth too. So, what am I missing?
No, that's all.
That's it.
Okay, anything else, Chris? Allison? Harry?
I was just up on the end of Clark, and someone kindly on the new road was able to drop off, I think, tires. Stacked on top of the
Wait a minute.
And so are you unable to deal with tires at your?
We prefer for you to report that
I can
to,
report that. I have the
you got the app, so just take a picture of it.
That
and
was
report
Chris.
it. That'll help us.
People are so nice, aren't they?
Yeah, it was a road christening.
Well, it's just made a lot easier now that the road is.
This is so many people on it.
Smooth and really nice.
Yeah, we encourage people to, for the big dumps, I mean, we have limited space to put it ourselves. The library, when their bins are empty, allow us to do it, otherwise we're individuals, and we try to, if there's a big dump, we try to find a location to kind of consolidate the stuff. Take a picture, report it on your app or the email, or call it in, either way, but that would be more of a job for the county than for the green team. We're trying to deal with the litter. and those issues, not the big dumps that are happening. And if you need anybody here, it looks like I think all of you have this already, but on the back of our cars is a resource guide. So that you know what to do with stuff.
A very quick question. We have a house in our neighborhood where something's going on with the guy who owns it, and the whole place is just totally overrun with trash. I think you probably know what I'm talking about. It's on Linden Lane.
His mother
His mother passed away.
and he's a collector.
Collected. No, it's just,
Yeah, it's.
a huge amount of junk on his front garden, in his cars. But it's not, I just don't know. The neighbors are saying, what can we do about this? And I'm not sure if there is anything.
Code enforcement, because that's what,
Okay.
I think, were you here when the sheriff's office was here?
I can't remember.
No, okay, because there's a house in my neighborhood that's
Okay,
problematic.
so it's a code enforcement
Yeah,
violation.
and in this case, the sheriffs were there because they know of this particular house's history and they wanted to protect the code enforcement folks from potential hostile actions from the homeowner.
Okay.
But it's on the property and stuff like that, it's code enforcement, because we had that other. The young Adam, I don't know his last name, but the house that in his neighborhood that's been a problem for a decade or whatever, it's
So
a code.
I'll look on
enforcement.
code enforcement and that.
It's extended quite a bit.
What's the difference between code enforcement and what environmental health does? Because sometimes they say code enforcement, sometimes they say code environmental. You know?
I mean,
anyway?
I know from Richmond, it's private, it's not, it's, private property, code enforcement addresses private property.
Exactly.
And then once it gets to that, that's where it switches, I'm not sure.
Huh.
But I know in Richmond, when we have like encampments on private property, it's code enforcement.
Yeah,
So bring in public health.
So that's the difference.
Yeah, that's right, because.
Public is environmental health.
Yeah, because I had another issue with a trailer, which was actually part of the problem that the code enforcement picked down the street. But I said, you know, if there's someone living in it and expired tags and a bunch of garbage outside. And I said code enforcement, and they said, is any of this vehicle parked on the street? They said, yes. I said, it's not code enforcement. There you go.
That's what we call SOS, and we can come pick up the trash that is. You know, so I can't do all the big dumps as she was saying, but like that kind of stuff,
I don't know whether they wanted to give up their stuff, so that's the thing.
So,
It's all
okay, are we?
Yeah, we still can show up and see if we can get some of it out and go that way.
So I think we're done. One more.
One more. Because Melinda's not here, she's traveling from New Mexico coming home tonight. I wanted to say on behalf of the good table that the PG&E issue got resolved.
Yeah.
So Saturday, they were there putting the box together. And now all we have to wait for is the switch to be flicked. And that's a 2 to 6 week wait, but there's hope that it'll be sooner than that. And so the issues are all resolved. Now it's just a waiting game. We don't have to worry anymore that they're gonna mess with us. So I just wanted to say that we got the PG&E issue solved on behalf of the good table. And
Thank you. So there's, the next item is agenda items and speakers for upcoming SMAC meetings. So what I have here is one agenda item would be a discussion of these ICE issues and, you know, whether it is appropriate for us as a council to take a stand on this. And if so, what should that stand be and how should we convey it? The second one would be
SOS.
O'Neill, the SOS. And then, as you know, folks here may have been there, but the CEI, Center for Elder Independence, opened up on San Pablo de Ana. And I asked, some of the folks there if they'd be willing to present to the MAC meeting, on their new center, and they're cool with it, so we should maybe reach out. I'll send you, do you have Uche's email? So maybe I'll reach out to him, copy it to you, see if they'd be willing to come in and
We also have Monish coming in to do a reintroduction, and to give some additional context to like potential mitigation with speeding along San Pablo, so.
So we can we can schedule these, I think.
Yeah.
See if it-
So, agenda item, it's actually related to what you're talking about, ICE, and I was gonna ask Harry about it, and I said, wait, I can look it up myself on my phone. There is a Senate Bill 627 that's sponsored by our senator, who represents us, Jesse Ardeen. Senate Bill number 627, unmasking ICE agents. And I think that should be brought forth as a discussion item for our agenda for the next meeting in conjunction with what you said. Because, well, the title of the bill speaks for itself. I mean, you're gonna do your job, but you shouldn't be hiding yourselves. It's always about safety. And so if that was the case, then all the police officers everywhere would be masked as well. So it's a bunch of nonsense. So I was thinking that would be an agenda item as well.
Well, I think we might be able to fold that into the IC.
Yeah, I know, I just wanted to bring that, I figured you would, I just wanted to bring it up so it would be a part of the discussion, so.
Okay. So,
Yeah, I don't know if this is really an agenda item for this time around, but it was just something in the paper about how the idea of slowing the traffic, which we're talking about doing down Dam Road, conflicts with the evacuation routes where you wanted to have people to move out more quickly. And so I don't think it's what we need to talk about soon, but I just think the kind of discussion of how that would work together would be helpful at some point.
so I think we've reached the end of our meeting, so 8:30. Thank you, everybody.